She knows it's too late, but she's walking on by. So sad to wait. Don't look back in anger. Hello, I am here. And welcome, welcome. I said I wasn't going to be here, but it turns out I am because I'm not feeling very well. I'm in the middle of a detox. None of this is relevant to you. And I just want to get it done so that I can go back to resting and reading my book. Now, so welcome, welcome. This is AuDHD and the nervous system, where I am looking at the way that the nervous system and the brain work, right, through neurobiology, to either support, enhance, or evolve the AuDHD person, right? This is an application of a method called the body-mind approach, where we look at connection to self, connection to others, and connection to the world as a process that the ADHD person goes through to achieve their optimum health, well-being, and happiness. And this is all also to support Sincerity School, a movement and effort that myself and community volunteers are driving to open schools, right, for ADHD children and teenagers, right? So if this is of interest to you, please share it along. I promise it will be super interesting. This one is one of my favorite topics, and I'm particularly excited to take you through today's content due to the nature of it, right? Because we're talking about playing to win, right? The neurobiology or the sort of the mental, emotional, personal, physical, and psychological processes, sort of in a simple form, that an ADHD child goes through, depending on their environment and how we can change, alter how we do things with them, to promote full health in the long term for the whole of their lives, which is what everybody wants, right? So I'm going to go to my slides now. Let's go share slides. Let's go here. Right, and then I go, where is it? Playing to win. There it is. Now, excuse me, I'm just getting this up. I'm amazed that I've done this correctly the first time around. That's wonderful. Okay, so ADHD in the nervous system, playing to win, the power of play-based and creatively driven learning for neuroplasticity, emotional regulation, and authentic expression. Now, today's session will cover the following things: the effects of play on neuroplasticity, and the potential for positive neural development in early education, um, the success of play-based and creative learning and maintaining equilibrium for ADHD children, which is incredibly important, how play and creative expression support healthy mental and emotional functioning, and the importance of happiness, right? So there's a bunch of really important things coming up there. So neurotransmitters in ADHD, this is the first thing that we're going to look at. What are they for and what are they? Now, but first, before we go there, we need to look at the body-mind approach to education, which is one that we are applying as a school, as we develop it, is one which honors and understands the child's own capacity to create well-being within themselves, part of the sustenance available from the brain's own chemical processes. When coupled with steady, consistent nervous system regulation, the body-mind connection remains intact. Now, why is that so important, right? You hear people talk about this all the time. What does it really mean? Well, I'm going to talk about that today. I'm going to tell you what the body-mind connection is and why it is so immensely valuable, right? And why, as we grow up and become more responsible over our own thoughts, our own projections, our own behaviors, and especially our own emotions, this connection starts to improve and we become more authentic as a result, more true to ourselves. There's a bunch of stuff in the way first, right? And we'll talk about that as well. So the root of the body-mind approach is this: the body knows what the mind does not. Now, when the body starts to disconnect from the mind and the mind disconnects from the body, it's from feeling that connection to myself is unsafe, connection to others is unsafe, and develops in response to repeated disruptions to the body's own distress signaling. when obedience, silence, and a chaotic environment are made more important than the child's inner state, we actually teach them that their well-being or safety exists outside of themselves, right? Because their attention is then focused on external things. And then we try and influence, contort, and control the child based on our needs and our dysregulation. And it sometimes takes a lifetime to undo that disconnect once it begins. Um, it sometimes does, but it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, so neurotransmitters and AuDHD, what are they for? Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that carry signals between nerve cells. They influence mood, muscle movement, heart rate, and overall nerve function. Healthy function depends on exercise, sleep, social connection, and crucially for children, deep listening to their own body's signals. Now, neurotransmitters, the body-mind connection, and AuDHD. When a child's brain chemistry is not balanced, right, as is typical for AuDHD children, it is due to being disrupted by fear. Fear accumulates in the body's patterning and the mind overcompensates, creating false behaviors, false seeking behaviors, and false ways of achieving what the body-mind connection, if sustained, creates naturally. The seeking is external when disconnect happens, and true well-being quite literally forms within. Trying to get their needs met externally is taught and not organic. Children, through play, connection with others, and freedom to safely express their own feelings and needs, have a natural capacity for well-being within them. It's fear, chaos, and controlling environments which teach them that safety is found outside me, and they behave to secure it. Behave is they learn the rules externally and they follow those rules. This doesn't work because they learn to ignore their own needs and then eventually their own distress signals. So emotions become locked in the body and their own natural well-being is lost. Now let's have a think about how serious this is. If this becomes an unconscious process, one that is automated, where we automatically go to the mind under our external reality for safety and to work out our own value, and we're ignoring our own distress signals, our natural feelings. Can you imagine how far removed we become from our own natural state of well-being, and equally how far removed we become from safety, well-being, happiness, confidence, and honesty in our lives? We become great big fakers, big performers. I'm as guilty as any other person of this, right? And it's the reason why it's so important to talk about today. So I'll stick the wee video next to me up because I know some of you are here and it's nice to have you. So, neuroplasticity, what is it and why do we need it? It's the brain's ability to rewire itself for health, learning, and evolution. Learned fear-based pattern of seeking and pretending behaviors for false external reward can collapse within us. We can redirect them, and the body-mind connection is reestablished. In AuDHD children, it is reported they have disrupted development in the prefrontal cortex. Please excuse me, I'm still detoxing. This is day 3, and my throat's a bit funny, so I will try not to shout so much. I don't know why I'm doing that. In AuDHD children, it is reported that they have disrupted development of the prefrontal cortex. That sounds permanent, but is it? Is it? I don't really think it is. No. Neuroplasticity and strengthening of the prefrontal cortex will occur through the magical, organic, and continually occurring experience of play. We play to win, both short term and long term, for ultimate health and well being. Liars, liars everywhere. um, Right, this is about how the body-mind disconnect happens and how we become heavy performers in our lives and head-based in our approaches to life. Seeking states, behavioral insincerity, and mental somersaults are all byproducts of the body holding excessive emotional energy intact within. And it's intact because we've stopped processing it. It is the repeated disconnect from the body's distress signals, and as a consequence, we become fake. A healthy child is already present. Children are already naturally born healthy in this way. Their well-being does come from within. It's our treatment of them and what we put them through that disrupts that body-mind connection. We simply allow them to be themselves, and the body reorganizes itself naturally to support the return to their own nature. Engaging the cerebellum, movement for miracles, right? So this is play and movement now. So a child with no access to its own distress signals cannot also access pleasure and preference. By creating a natural, comfortable, and safe play-centered learning environment, we encourage the body and the mind to realign. This allows the child to feel themselves again, which can sometimes contribute to deeper and more emotional feeling states for a time. But that's health, right? But what is occurring is, in fact, healing and a return to homeostasis of brain chemistry and healthy nervous system function. Movement and dance also support this. And children need this stuff play, movement, dance, right? Um, all of this incorporated into their every single day and freedom to express naturally every single day. Now, sad children make angry adults. We need to make happiness matter. Now, neurotransmitters play a role in mood management, right? And as we become adults, we seem to accept a natural state of misery, right? We think that that's uh, sort of life adjacent, like we're meant to be that way. Like there's no avoidance of that, and that's not the case at all, right? We've been led to believe that that's natural, and it's in fact a state of ill health, due to rigidity in the heart rate variability and rigidity in the nervous system states. And it can all be reversed. So, judgment and derision of children leads to adults with a lot of thought and not a lot of sense. Tricky one, this, right? They externally seek in increasingly more complex ways for the safety they can no longer feel within themselves. And this can be a long-term state of being that quietly, slowly, over time corrects itself, which is why time in a child's learning environment is so important and patience is so important, particularly with the self and learning to connect to ourselves as an adult, where we learn to self-soothe, is paramount for health. Children shouldn't have to do that on their own though, because they don't have the mechanism to. So when we create situations for them where they can feel the sense of their own bodies, they naturally become adults who can self-soothe because they're not afraid of themselves anymore. And they haven't been taught that their needs, their self-expression, their natural identity is wrong. Now, the body makes sense naturally of what is real and true for us. By promoting children's autonomy and learning, we allow them to access their own happiness and teach them they can heal and support themselves. Like what I just said, isn't he so cute? Look at him, isn't he lovely? I love a big smile. Now, examples of creative play and green time. Now, this is another thing that children need every day at intervals for healthy connect body mind connection, right? And healthy progression in their learning and their own personal development, because it's one and the same. Their physiological development is intrinsically tied to their learning capacity, and it fluctuates according to environment and well-being, not according to supports, pressure, academic goal, or academic rigor. That has nothing to do with it. In fact, rigor externally disrupts their connection to themselves and therefore disrupts their own organic health long term and their ability to learn. Oh, dropped a bomb on you there, didn't I? Right. So here we have photographs of the natural world with children in it. This is an example of green time. Green time is something that children with AuDHD especially need at regular intervals through the day to help replenish neurotransmitters. What we tend to observe as a behavioral trait is, in fact, a depletion or an imbalance in the neurotransmitters in the brain, which directly affects the nervous system. And we can sort of naturally gauge when green time is necessary. And it helps them to be ready for their next phase of learning. It's a requirement. It is not, and we all need it. In fact, not just the kids, we all do. In summary, children need play, nature or green time, autonomy, time, maintenance of the body-mind connection, and that maintenance so it naturally develops itself and it evolves. I need to say this, the body-mind connection is not just one thing that we stabilize. It evolves and gives them more and more gifts over time. Their intelligence changes, their self-expression changes, their creativity changes, their resilience improves. All of this is about the body-mind connection, and it is inextricably linked to how they develop and grow as adults. So healthy and safe environments to process emotions are also needed, and room to be themselves without judgment. Now that's the trickiest bit of all, the judgment crack, right? Because we are, kind of predisposed to judge, right? And our minds are meant to have a judgment facility. What is problematic for a child as they are growing up is when they allow our judgments and our programs and our patterns of disconnect from ourselves to dictate who they should be, right? And it creates controlling behavior, it creates neediness, it creates fear, it creates external seeking. And all of these external seeking behaviors are false compensations. They're ways to compensate for what is naturally available within them and can continually nourish them if we give them the right environment to grow in. And that's the point of this presentation today. So if any of this has been beneficial to you, please consider sending us a wee donation on the Sincerity fundraising link. I will stick it underneath. Also, if you'd like to get involved with Sincerity School and the building of an education model that is transferable globally for AuDHD children and teenagers, please get in touch with me. My name is Shanice Free. I am company director and I am very happy to be here. Now I'm off to drink some herbal tea and read me McEwen and be left alone. See you later.